In the future, a company named Tyrell Corporation creates bioengineered human beings who are made to work as slaves, known as replicants. However, the company soon goes bankrupt and collapses when Nexus 6 through 8 start to rebel and demand the same rights as humans. Ecosystems break down and famine starts to spread all over the world, killing millions of people. A powerful industrialist named Wallace comes up with the solution of synthetic farming. He then buys what's left of Tyrell and turns it into his own company. The company creates a new model called the Nexus 9 that is designed to be more loyal. Agents called Blade Runners look for older models and hunt them down. The year is now 2049. Agent K, a Nexus 9 model, is going outside of Los Angeles to catch a rogue replicant. K finds Sapper on his farm and they start fighting. Sapper insults the Nexus 9 models and says that K wouldn't be killing his own kind if he had seen the miracle he saw. K doesn't care and kills him anyway. K is about to go, but he notices that there are flowers carefully put next to a tree. He uses a drone to scan the area and finds a chest buried in the ground. He then calls a forensics team to come and dig it up. When K gets back to the office, he takes the baseline test, which is necessary for all replicants to show that they are healthy and willing to work, and then he goes home. K lives with Joy, a woman hologram he bought for companionship. Even though she is just a hologram, K has become very attached to her and has decided to buy her an emanator. This will let Joy leave the apartment and move around freely when she wants. They go up to the roof to hug each other in the rain, but K gets a message telling him that a chest from the farm has been retrieved. K rushes back to the station and finds out that the chest contains a skeleton and some hair from a woman who died during an emergency cesarean section about 30 years ago. Then K sees that one of the bones has a serial number, which means she wasn't a real person, but a replicant. This is quite strange because replicants aren't meant to be able to reproduce. Lieutenant Joshi thinks that if people found out that replicants were becoming so human-like, it would destroy society, so she tells K to burn down the farm and find the baby to kill them both. K is reluctant because if the baby were born, it would be a real person and not a replicant, but Joshi dismisses the idea. On his way out, K realizes that what Sapper saw was the baby. Soon after, K goes to the Wallace company to ask about the replicant. To identify her, she brings the replicant's serial number and a piece of her hair. The employee says that this model is from before 2022, when something called the blackout destroyed almost all of the company's digital files. They will have to check to see if there are any hard copy files available. They find a file that says the replicant was standard issue and unremarkable. At that time, a replicant named Love shows up and gives him access to an old recording belonging to an experimental replicant named Rachel, who went missing 30 years ago. K notices that Rick, the Blade Runner who made this recording, and Rachel seem to be very close. Next, K goes to a retirement home to talk to an old man who used to work with Rick. All he knows is that Rick retired and went somewhere to be alone, but no one knows where. In the meantime, Love brings Wallace the newest model for testing. Wallace uses a special tool to check all of the replicant's vital functions. He ends up killing her because she can't reproduce, which is something he is trying to program. He is aware that there is a replicant child somewhere out there that was given birth by the replicant made by the old Tyrell company. He tells Love to find it so they can build a new world where replicants are born instead of being made. Later that night, a mystery person pays a working girl named Mariette to approach K and find out how much K knows about Sapper. Unfortunately, Mariette's efforts to flirt and make conversation aren't successful. K goes back to the farm the next day to look for more hints. He sees that 2 of the piano's keys are broken. When he looks inside, he finds a baby sock in a tin and a picture of a woman holding a baby while standing by a tree. K goes back to check on the tree and finds the date June 10, 2021 inscribed on the base. These numbers give him a vision of a house on fire and a child holding a toy horse, which makes him very upset. Then K sets fire to the farm and leaves. At that station, Love gets into the morgue and takes all the proof from the farm, including the bones, killing the lab technician in the process. Joshi meets K in the evening to tell him about what happened at the station. Joshi asks K if he has any memories, and he says that he does, but that they were implanted and aren't real. He talks about how, when he was young and living in an orphanage. The other kids would chase him around and try to steal his wooden horse. Little Kay hid the toy in the furnace, and the other children hit him for it. Kay begins searching for babies born on the same date he saw at the farm. Joy teases him about the wooden horse story, reminding him that the toy had the same date on it, but Kay thinks it's just a coincidence. Since looking by dates gives no information, Kay starts searching by DNA and finds 2 kids with the exact same DNA, which shouldn't be possible. The files show the births of 2 children who were sent to the Morialcole orphanage. The girl died of a genetic illness, and the boy just vanished from the records. After that, Kay and Joy look for the shelter in San Diego. On the way, scavengers shoot down his flying car, causing him to crash. Kay passes out, and Joy tries to wake him up, but she can't. Then she disappears because of malfunctions. The scavengers get closer to try to force open the door. Kay wakes up just in time to protect himself from the attack. Kay eliminates some of the men and pulls out his gun, but then he sees that a large group of armed people are coming after him. Something begins firing at the group from the sky. Saving Kay, it turns out that this is Love, who is remotely controlling a drone. She wants Kay to keep going and continue finding the child. Kay finds home in the end, and the kids are happy to see him. Kay requests Mr. Cotton for records of children who came here 30 years ago. At first, Cotton says no, so Kay hits him to make him cooperate. Then Cotton takes him to his office. On the way, Kay notices that this place looks a lot like the orphanage he used to live in. When Cotton finds the records, he discovers that the pages for the year they need have been taken out. Cotton leaves the office, and Kay sees that the ashtray is shaped like a horse. This makes him want to look around. He finds the furnace from his memory, and when he looks inside, he sees that his wooden horse is still there. This causes him to have a breakdown because the memories are true. He may be a human after all. When Kay gets back home, Joy is happy to hear the story. She starts calling him Joe and says she's always known he's special. Kay wants to know for sure if the idea that he is the miracle baby is true. Joy advises him to talk to the person in charge of making memories for the replicants. The next day, Kay goes to see Dr. Anna, who demonstrates to him how she makes the memories, which she later sells to Wallace for his replicants. Anna says that it's illegal to duplicate real memories to put in replicants, and all she did was from scratch. She agrees to use her tools to look at his childhood memories, and with tears in her eyes, she tells him they're real. He has an emotional outburst and leaves the building. His coworkers suddenly arrest him. Moments later, Kay takes the baseline test, which he fails because of his emotions. Joshi is angry at Kay for wasting her time, so she brings him to her office and scolds him. Kay tells her that he went far to find the kid, who was being used as a regular worker, and that he terminated him. Joshi is glad to hear this and gives him 48 hours to put himself back together before taking the test again, but he is made to leave his badge and gun behind. Kay then goes home and sees that Joy hired Mariette for the night. Since she can't touch anything, she put her hologram over Mariette. This allows Kay to make love with her. The next morning, Mariette puts a tracker in Kay's jacket. She also finds the horse, but before she can take anything, Joy makes her leave. Moments later, Kay gets ready to leave the city because he knows the cops will come after him. Joy wants to leave with him and urges him to take her in the Emanator. She also tells him to erase the copy of her on his personal computer so the police can't use her against him. Kay argues that if something happens to the Emanator, he'll lose her forever, but Joy tells him that he needs her. So, Kay wipes out his home system and breaks the Emanator's antenna. At the Wallace Corporation, Love sees this and rushes to Kay's apartment right away, where she finds the broken antenna. Following this, she goes to speak with Joshi, who tells her that she doesn't know where Kay is and that the case is over. Love tells Joshi that Kay lied about killing the born replicant, but Joshi refuses to reveal any information, so Love kills her. After that, Love uses the computer at the police station to find Kay's location. Kay goes to see a man at a pawn shop who can figure out where the horse came from. His machine indicates high levels of radiation as found in Las Vegas. When he gets to the ruins of the old, abandoned city, Kay's drone scans the area and finds a spot of heat in the distance. Kay goes to check it out and finds a whole beehive near some dirty statues. He decides to go into the nearest abandoned building, which turns out to be a casino. He looks around for a while and then goes upstairs and is surprised to see a dog. This gives Rick a chance to sneak up on him from behind with his gun. Rick knows Kay is a Blade Runner and doesn't believe him when he says he just wants to ask some questions. So Kay jumps to the ground floor right before Rick shoots. Rick goes looking for Kay. He activates the hologram show of the casino as a distraction. Kay jumps on him, and after telling him to talk to him again, he lets Rick hit him over and over to prove that he means no harm. Rick is convinced that Kay's intentions are good, so he takes him to a bar for a drink. Rick tells Kay that he and Rachel did have a child together, but he didn't get to meet his own child because of the plan. Rick taught Sapper and the other members of the Replicant Liberty movement how to alter the records and hide their tracks. He then left Rachel with them and ran away to keep his family out of trouble with the police. The memories made him sad, so Rick leaves the bar. Kay keeps looking around and finds a number of wooden animals. After some time, when Kay was resting, he let Joy out for a while. It causes a trigger in the machine, and Kay immediately deactivates Joy before Rick shows up to check. They use binoculars to look outside and see a group of cars coming toward the building. They run to Rick's car to escape, but just as they get there, the room blasts. Then Love and her men come to kidnap Rick, but Rick can't protect himself. Kay also tries to fight, but Love kicks him down, which mistakenly activates Joy. She begs for forgiveness, but Love smashes the emanator and leaves with her men, leaving Kay to die. In the evening, Kay is saved by an unknown group, which also gets rid of the tracker. When Kay wakes up, he is with Mariette and the rest of the Replicant Freedom Movement. She tells him he can trust them and shows him to their leader, Freysa, who has a picture of Rachel and the baby. Freysa was there to help Rachel give birth and helped her hide the baby. Sapper let Kay kill him because he was also in their group and had sworn to keep it a secret. Freysa says that the baby was a girl who grew up to be Dr. Anna. When they tried to hide the baby, they deliberately dressed her in blue to make people think she was a boy. Kay is devastated to find out that he isn't the miracle baby after all. He learns that when Rick taught the group how to alter records, Kay gained some of the baby's data, which includes her memories, that contributed to the synthetic DNA match he found in the computers. Freysa knows that Anna is proof that replicants are more than just slaves, and she wants to bring a change for her people. She advises Kay to join them and help them win. Wallace found Rick because of him, so it's now Kay's job to kill Rick before Wallace uses him to find their group. Meanwhile, Rick wakes up in a room with Wallace. Wallace reveals that he has Rachel's skull and the recording of her conversation with Rick. Wallace tries to imply that Rachel's love for Rick was programmed by her creator to see if they could have a child or not, but Rick doesn't believe it. To get information about the child, Wallace shows Rick a copy of Rachel he made so he can find out more about the child. Rick gets emotional to see his love, but he doesn't fall for it because he got the eye color wrong. So, Wallace has Love kill Rachel and then reminds Rick that he can hurt him to get him to talk. Back to Kay, who is wandering on the streets when he sees an ad for the same Joy AI, which tries to convince him to buy her. Kay thinks about all the people who have died and decides to get revenge for his Joy. He finds a car and follows Love's car, which is taking Rick to Wallace's secret building, where he keeps all his pain machines. Kay shoots Love's car, which crashes into a dam. Kay then walks up to the car and starts shooting. Love shoots back, and they both get shot. As the water from the dam starts to fill the car, Kay and Love start fighting. Love pulls out a hidden knife and stabs Kay, thinking she has won. Love kisses Kay and leaves him to die. She then goes back to the car, but Kay uses the water to get close to her without being noticed. He then attacks her. After some fighting, Kay manages to kill Love and then frees Rick from his chains. They swim to Kay's car and watch as Love's car sinks. Kay says that everyone will now think Rick is dead, so he can go find his daughter. Rick and Kay go to Anna's labs, but Kay hands Rick the horse before they go inside. While Rick goes into the building and meets his daughter for the first time, Kay sits on the steps and watches it snow, thinking if he'll survive his stab wound or not. And the movie ends. Subscribe to watch more movie recaps like this. Thanks for watching. See you in the next plot. Goodbye.